What's up? It's Jamal, and welcome back to the channel. In this video, we're gonna take a look at emails written by some of the world's top sales experts and break down the strategies that will help you land more clients and even bigger commissions. Who doesn't want that? Name one person that doesn't want that. I dare you. You can? It's terrifying. If you wanna get the most out of this video, click the link in the description to HubSpot's free sales email templates kit with email sequences that have closed 100,000 in 30 days, to specific email types that can get a 76% response rate. This kit has it all. So first things first, I just learned that 8 out of 10 prospects prefer to be contacted via email, which means it's really important to make sure your message is perfect before you hit send. When it comes to B2B sales, email is essential for building a rapport with potential clients. Being polite and professional isn't enough. Every word in your email needs to be carefully constructed to move the reader in the right direction. And that's why we reached out to half a dozen executives from successful agencies, world-famous training programs, and sales tech startups, and asked them to share proven emails that work for them. These emails can be divided into 3 groups: first touch emails, follow-up emails, and breakup emails. The best salespeople use all 3 to nurture leads and close those deals. Let's start with first touch emails. Boop. Like the name suggests, these are the first emails sent to a prospect. These can be solicited or unsolicited. We have examples of both, but let's start with an unsolicited email template. A great technique for sending unsolicited emails is to start by asking a prospect who the best person is to speak with in their organization. This is obviously important because you don't want to waste time soliciting the wrong person. But it also starts the conversation with a very simple question that the prospect can answer with ease. Most people are instinctually helpful, as long as you don't ask them for something super complicated. So instead of hitting them with a hard sell, just introduce yourself with a friendly inquiry that is super easy to respond to and open a line of communication. Next, and if possible, reference someone else in the organization who you have communicated with. This creates social proof that will subconsciously encourage the reader to respond. Finally, end with a clear call to action that the reader can respond to. In most cases, you're trying to set a meeting, but you can encourage any action that strategically continues the communication. You can also offer 2 CTAs, giving the reader a choice in how they respond. Another proven technique when sending unsolicited sales emails is to approach a prospect who is new to their position. This is effective because the prospect is less likely to be set in their ways and is more likely to be looking to enact change that you happen to be offering. Excellent work. Let's take a quick look. Again, you see the social proof. Then congratulate the prospect on the new role. Now, here's where things get interesting. Try to commiserate with the prospect about how stressful a new role can be. Then quickly offer to relieve some of that stress. And finally, invite the prospect to share their experience with you. This builds trust with the prospect while also allowing you to begin discovery on how your company can service this potential client. All right, so now that I've shared some strategies on unsolicited first touch emails, let's take a quick look at first touch emails in response to an inquiry from the prospect. These are obviously easier since the prospect has already expressed interest, but there are still techniques you can use to optimize your response. Oftentimes, a prospect inquiry will include questions about your product or service, and your natural instinct will be to answer these questions in your response, but not so fast. Our sales experts recommend that you use these questions as an opportunity to have a deeper discussion with the prospect. You can say something like, there are a couple of possible answers to your questions. I want to be sure I'm giving you accurate information. Then, and as you probably guessed, hit them with a CTA to set a time for a call where you can custom craft your response to satisfy the prospect's needs. And whenever possible, take the opportunity to create a sense of urgency for the prospect by saying something like, you said you were hoping to get started by next month, but I'm not sure we're going to be able to make that timing if we don't get a meeting on the calendar this week to discuss next steps. If I said that too fast, don't worry. It's all in the sales email templates that you can download in the description.
This data is wrong every freaking time.
Have you heard of HubSpot? HubSpot is a CRM platform where everything is fully integrated.
Whoa, I can see the client's whole history, calls, support tickets, emails, and here's a task from 3 days ago I totally missed.
HubSpot, grow better.
No matter how good your first touch email is, few of them will lead directly to you closing a deal. That's why follow-up emails are super important. Follow-up emails can take a lot of different shapes depending on what previously occurred. For that reason, we have a large variety of follow-up email templates. The most successful salespeople send up to 5 follow-up emails to every prospect. I'm not going to go over all of these templates in detail, but let's hit on a few key tips that apply to most, if not all, scenarios. The first tip is to mirror the way the prospect speaks. You can directly quote back something that is said in a previous exchange or simply use the same language as the prospect to describe their challenge and your solution. Second, mention something personal that the prospect revealed during your previous exchange as a way to continue build rapport with empathy. And speaking of empathy, it never hurts to remind the prospect that you have your own supervisors to report to. You can say something like, "My boss asked me about the status of our communication." You also want to think of different reasons for contacting the prospect instead of just checking in. You can share a recent article that might further inform the prospect. This shows that you're working to provide a solution, even when you're not selling the prospect. If you gave the prospect a trial of your product and they didn't convert to a customer, you could reach out for feedback on your product. Again, you're not trying to sell here. You're just trying to get the prospect back on the hook. You can even offer the prospect some sort of incentive, like a gift card in exchange for their time in helping you to improve the product. Unfortunately, even a couple $100s at Dave & Buster's won't close every deal. Sometimes you have to cut your losses and send a breakup email. The point of a breakup email is twofold. It allows you to close out a prospect and move on, but it can also trigger a response on your prospect when other follow-up methods have failed. In fact, you might be astonished to learn that HubSpot's own sales team sees a 33% response rate from their breakup emails. That doesn't mean that they all become sales, but it at least keeps lines of communication open. If you're wondering what we say to achieve that 33% response rate, you can find it in the templates. We also have a few versions of other companies that do even better, like the "I feel like a stalker" email that gets a 70% response rate, and the reigning champion of breakup emails, "Permission to close your file," which our sales experts say nets them a 76% response rate. That's madness. It's important that your breakup email not come off as passive aggressive. So if you're new to sales, you definitely want to stick to the script, which has been vetted by experts. Sales is a game of rejection, but you never want to close the door to future interactions with any prospect. That's why our breakup templates are sure to remind the prospect of your continuing interest to solve their business problems while softly closing the door behind you, which is actually how I'm going to close out this video. Just a general reminder to like this video and subscribe to this channel. And a final suggestion to download our proven 25 sales email templates. Do it now so you don't have to go back and search for the link after the next video plays. That's called creating urgency. See what I'm doing? You get it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. That's why we reached out to